What is going on, everybody? BobbyFi, James Mccool, and Eric Sheets-Haber. We are doing our first sort of combo show since we partnered up with PayDirt. For those of you guys who haven't heard the news, True DFS, everything that is Sheets, myself, Brandon, Adam, we're all over with PayDirt officially as of March 1st, but we're crossing over. We're just getting everything settled up. I do want to remind everybody with the code True DFS, you can get a month free now for PayDirt, and I think it's really worth checking out. We'll talk about some of those tools as we talk through some of the slate like we normally do. So first of all, James, how you doing today? And then we'll jump over to Sheets.
I'm good, dude. Wednesdays are always really good days for me. I go on a little breakfast date with my wife. We go and get some eggs and some French toast and some potatoes, and that's always great. Then we have this. So moving forward, we'll also have PGA talk. And then later on, I go to the gym and I hurt myself for a little while. So Wednesdays are good. And today I get to go do career day at my kids' pre-K, which is great. I get to talk to 4-year-olds and tell them that I can predict the future, which is a very fun thing to say. So I'm good. How are you?
That's awesome. No, I'm good. I'm doing well. We had a little bit of a later normal weeknight for me last night. We went to a screening of the Frankenstein, and it was like a Q&A with Guillermo del Toro, which was kind of cool. I'm a little bit of a film guy, so I thought that was kind of fun. Sick. And yeah, my girlfriend's in the film. She does costumes and stuff for the film stuff. So every now and then you get some kind of cool perks. It was kind of fun. Sheets, how are you doing, man?
Is there a code that you can use to change the music on the intro? I mean, we got to think about all this stuff. I got to get used to this whole jazz vibe on the intro music. We got to. There's a lot of tweaking that I need to get used to here. From Bobby's logo to the new music to all of it. But hopefully we're going to create our own little vibe and our own kind of combination of ball knowing and ball not knowing, and love football, hate football, love League of Legends. Sheets, who are these people on your screen? What, I can't pronounce them. What sport is that? Type of stuff, We'll figure it out between your ability to know the game and my ability to kind of just kind of like manufacture wins and James's ability to create freaking tools. I mean, I think this is this could be a pretty cool little partnership here. So now it's up to you guys as users, and this is the real genius to test, is how to take the information you get and actually turn that into money, and how to turn that into wins. And that's fortunate. That's where I've honestly been the biggest success in my life, is just kind of knowing who to filter out, who to filter in, and how to actually gather the information and make it work for me. So we're going to try to help you with that, but a lot of it is going to be on you guys to figure out the best way to utilize the different skill sets that we're going to be bringing to you guys. So, and as we learn from each other, hopefully we'll be able to direct you in that path as well. So I'm looking forward to this, and this is going to be the first attempt to combine efforts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
and look,
sorry. No, it's fine. I was just saying it's going to be good.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I think it's really important. Like, obviously, I've worked for a number of different DFS companies, and there are different, like there's plenty of ways to skin a cat. There's a lot of different ways and a lot of different information and a lot of different things to absorb. And also there's a lot of ways of taking your takes. The biggest issue I've had with myself especially over the last year, but in general, is I don't mind if I have a bad take and I'm wrong. But if I have a good take and I'm right, and a number of them, and I end up still losing, there's probably something I'm doing wrong that I'm missing. And that's a big thing that, we got to focus on. And it used to be, back in the day, I'd say simple, but like when everybody was only hand building, basically, whatever, it's been almost 13 years or whatever since I've been doing this. And it was a very different game. And it's really important to try and figure out the things that work best for you. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm still getting familiarized with everything with PayDirt, but I've spent a little bit more time, and I'm kind of pumped to have a new challenge, and also potentially hopefully a more profitable run, because I have been getting a little bit killed outside of golf. Actually, I came very close last week in a couple of tournaments, and had another good week for golf. So, with all that said, we can kind of jump into this. We're sort of winging this as our first show because we haven't.
Well, let me ask you this. I'll ask both of you this kind of like overall like macro question about golf. What do you think of DraftKings slating these no Scotty tournaments this week. What do you guys think about that?
So are they significant? Are there significant size tournaments even with it?
I don't know, but
I thought it was interesting.
But I don't think it's interesting at all. I think it's I think it's just the stupidest thing I can even imagine. You know, the whole idea of DraftKings and this business is that it's a salary-based game, and you have to create a lineup based on the salaries presented to you. And in addition to that, or probably even more important than that, it's not a contest to see who could create. You know, you're not battling the bookie; you're battling everybody else.
Right.
So if there's a spot which everybody kind of wants to play, then everybody's going to play it, and you're going to be looking to get leverage on it. So to say that Scotty is such an amazing play like every week that it's become unfun, I think is just kind of ridiculous, and it just misses the whole point of what DFS is all about. So that's I have actually kind of a cool little question I just thought of like an hour ago to pose to both of you. So let's say that you could come up with a totally awesome, optimal lineup without Scotty in it. Okay, let's say you ran your stuff and you said, okay, this is an amazing lineup without Scotty. Here's my question. Would you rather put that in the non-Scotty contest or in the Scotty contest?
In the Scotty contest.
Why?
Yeah.
Because you're actually getting leverage against the field. You're not doing anything different in the other one.
That's right. But what if the Scotty contest, like the Scotty lineups, would end up being really, really good? Wouldn't matter to you?
It depends on the ownership of Scotty.
That's right. And it depends, and it also depends on the prize pool. You know what I mean? Like if you could get leverage in a tournament that's that's going to pay $100,000 for first, even if you're going to be fighting against good Scotty lineups, it's better to do that than to take even an optimal in the non-Scotty lineup if it's going to pay like $1,000 for first. So so the point is that even if like, I think you should do that. It's so funny. Even like in UFC, if there's like some free square or something like that, imagine if every time there was what was considered a free square that said, okay, you can't play Gordon Hayward at 3K, but everybody else you can play. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just sort of ridiculous. So that's my overall thing. Now the other thing I'm kind of go ahead.
No, I just wanted to. I was surprised. The only reason, and the only reason I like it is the same reason I thought you would like it, is because you like different variations within these games. Like I remember, when no one's playing like the weekend, the weekend slate, but they're only playing the 2 days for the 1 day for the NFL thing. You want to play the full thing, or at least you used to want that stuff.
I love doing that, but only because I just want to play everything.
Right.
And I just like playing. I just think that from a philosophical perspective, to eliminate a player from the pool because he's good, for example.
Right.
Well, okay, so let's pull it back towards another sport. I hope that they offer slates without the Rockies on it in MLB this year. I legitimately hope they do, because the Rockies, they signed 2 more pitchers who are in the bottom 1th percentile of strikeout rate, and they're like. I was arguing in the Discord this morning, like, I don't think it's possible for the Rockies to be as bad as they were last year. Like, they will regress a bit from being literally the worst team in the modern era to probably just fucking terrible. But they're not going to have a run differential of negative 250 again, but they're going to be awful. And it comes down to a point where it's like in years past, it has basically been, okay, you have to make a choice like opening day. Are you going to stack against the Rockies? Are you going to stack cores every slate? Or are you going to fade cores every slate? And you just make that choice and you just sit on it the entire year. And you hope that your choice was right. And this year, like you just stack cores you don't have the choice anymore. And I think that makes for a worse game. Mm-hmm. So
Bobby and I are going to have a bad year then, because we basically fade cores every single day.
Dude, you can't do it anymore. I mean, like, the team is literally so bad. Like, the spreads for MLB are 1.5 every single game, like 99% of the game. Yeah. The spread started to push to 2.5 for the Rockies last year. like as favorites, like negative, like you're laying points to get 2.5 against the Rockies. That's fucking insane.
No, and your point is actually very interesting, because it's very specific about this brand of the Rockies. There's 10 years ago, 8 years ago, whatever it is, the Rockies were at least a competitive team, and actually playing both sides made some sense. Now It's like, okay, if you're going to put the worst pitching staff in baseball in Coors Field, obviously with actually a pretty inept offense considering you're playing in Coors, it's a very different thing. And you look at the double-digit runs scored there. It's like absolutely absurd how it just blasts away everybody else. Although I'm still always on the side of usually trying to get away from it mostly. I actually don't take the all the time attitude, but you're right though. I mean that would be interesting if you could have games without Coors. I'm always open to new games and trying things out, but sure. I think that's actually it's a good example of something that's similar, but actually is very different when you think about it, because you're not talking about the quality of some. I mean, you're talking about the quality, but you're not talking about how good somebody is. You're talking about literally a stadium combined with the worst players in baseball, where it makes it almost like feel like you're going to have at least one or two players from their lineup in every lineup. I don't know. It's tricky. So I also like to do the 3-man stacks for the team playing the Rockies a lot, because everybody goes 5-man, and for them, if I play them as my 3-man and then play my 5-man elsewhere, that's another way I like to go about that one. But
so in an attempt to do a terrible transition here to this tournament, let's talk about Scotty for a minute, because as I mentioned, we're combining efforts here, and I was very curious to see what James and James's model think of Scotty, because here's what we have at Pebble Beach, right? The most important thing to think about is that two things. Number one, there's no cut, and number two, that Scotty, as usual, is like plus 200, like to win. Okay. And those two things combine for the following, right? Number one, Scotty's metrics are just through the roof. And because it's no cut, you have all these bow wow players under 7K that you're going to be guaranteed to get 4 rounds of. And those types of slates are almost always pre-designed to have stars and scrubs anyway. Okay. So on the one hand, not even on the one hand, on the hands, you have Scotty plus a lot of low priced guys is going to look really good. Now that's for normal people. Now, when you add James into the mix, okay, like here, I mean, listen, one of the things I do is I've looked at like projections throughout the industry, like for a long time. And this is basically like what it is. It's like Scotty 100, Scotty 100, Scotty 100, Scotty 100, pay dirt, Scotty 174. Okay. Like literally like every single week. Okay. And also you get Scotty 174, and then you have like other guys that are like kind of like when there's a cut, you'll see like, I don't know, like Alex Smalley, you'll see 51, 51, 53, 52, 52, pay dirt, 19. Okay. So the pay dirt models really believe in the top, and they really believe in all this. Now, you're not going to have a cut, so that's not an issue. But I'm really curious to see like how much Scotty, like the pay dirt models are going to want you to get.
Mm-hmm. So the spoiler alert, not very much. And it's not because he doesn't project like God. All right. So he does project like God. Right? Projects for 124. Now, on a regular cut event, right, he would project for somewhere around, I'd guess, 105, 110 today. But because it's no cut, he's getting a boost. So he's up at 124. Like, if you're plus 250 to win a PGA tournament, you're going to look good. Your chances are insane. However, that 14K price tag is high. Now, last week, 14.5, I think we finally found the breaking point. I think we finally found the entire industry tried to play him yesterday or last week and still only got like 25% of him in tournaments. And he was plus 250 last week too. Mm-hmm. So DraftKings was like, okay, we hit the threshold, bring him back down. Now he's 14K. However, this week, the field is better, right? We have Rory, we have Tommy, we have Siwoo, we have Hideki, we have Justin. Like, we have a stacked field this week. So even though his price came down a bit, the field is tougher and the projections are a bit higher because it's no cut. So the models still say there's just no reason to go there. Even with a projection that is legitimately like 35 points higher than anybody else in the field, that price tag is significant. So in order to get him, what I've had to do in the portfolio manager is actually bring down optimals based on ownership rather than projection. Otherwise, I'm getting like 1, 2, 3% of him in 1,000 optimals. He's just expensive.
So this is what we're gonna do. So what we usually do is we break this down by tiers, and Bobby and I, we talk about like our favorite guys in like each tier,
Okay.
and then we kind of run this little contest at the end where we try to pick, number one, who's gonna win the tournament, number two, who's gonna be who's gonna come top 5 under 10K. And you'll see what we're looking to accomplish. So I guess for today we'll go and we'll break salary down. I guess we'll just start with the 10Ks and up, and there are only 3 of them, right? So let me ask you, like, Bobby, like, what do you think, or what are you getting of the top 3 guys?
I'm happy to jump into it. I had one quick question to ask James just about the tools. Just because I'm looking at the the range of outcomes, and then but when I was looking at earlier at the DFS salaries versus odds table, the top 5 percentage was drastically different, but the top 5 percentage theoretically should be the same, shouldn't it?
So for the odds versus values, or for the
odds versus values, unless I was maybe misunderstanding exactly what that was, and I thought maybe it'd be good just because my questions are going to sound sort of dumb, but they're
it's fine.
Like it had Rory as a better top 5 odds, but I didn't understand. Oh, it's saying 4 values. So can you explain that tool, that part of it a little bit more?
Yeah. So this tool is neat. This is kind of like what I call an intuitive tool, and this is basically saying, like, based on their odds to win and based on their top 5 odds, top 10 odds, top 20 odds, compared to what index their salary is in the range, are they a good or a bad value based on their salary? So very cut and dry, right? Scotty has the highest win odds. He also has the highest salary. Therefore, he ends up with a 1.0 in terms of win versus salary. It is perfectly right there, 1-to-1, right? But when it comes to his top 5 versus salary, right? Like, Rory has a slightly better chance to be top 5 than Scotty does. Meaning that the range for Scotty is a little bit lower. The floor can be a little bit lower for Scotty based on the things that are going on in the background. Only 2%, but it's still there. So therefore, Rory has a slightly better top five versus salary and a slightly worse for Scotty. Still basically 1-to-1. But the way that I usually look at this is I will look at top 5 versus salary, and I'll sort highest to lowest. And then I'll take a look and try to find any guys that seem interesting. Cheap guys are usually going to have high top 5 versus salary. But then when you see somebody like Jake Knapp, right? Like, his top 5 odds are 17%. His salary is just too low for that, right? So he gets a pretty good mark here. Cameron Young, another guy, 17% top 5 odds. His top 5 versus salary is pretty strong, all things considered.
Sure.
Ben Griffin as well, right? Like, you can see kind of the outliers here, these guys that actually have realistic chances to be top 5. And those guys end up looking like better values in terms of the salary that they are given. And this is a very simple calculation, right? It's literally just what rank is their salary, what rank is their top 5 odds, cut, right? That's what this table is.
Interesting. Okay. No, I appreciate that. And I guess with that, I'll sort of launch into my we've only got 3 players over 10K, and Sheets, you're not going to be surprised at all to know who my highest owned of those 3 is. It is my guy, Tommy Fleetwood. Partially that has something to do with ownership, and it's a significant price discount from Scotty and Rory. And there is a chance sometimes when these, and with the majors, I want to remind everybody, I always use this as an example. Jon Rahm won the US Open and wasn't on any of the millionaire winners, anything in the lottery, anywhere. He was not on the winning lineups anywhere when he won that, because you only could afford the other guys all around him if you specifically didn't play Jon Rahm at his price that week. That was about 4 years ago? So there does come times where you can actually win a tournament and actually not be, and I'm not saying you're not, I guess in that case it wasn't optimal, because literally they had 6 guys who you were basically 2 through 7 in pricing. Anyway, Fleetwood I'm getting about 25% of right now. I have 13% Scotty at the moment, and then 10% Rory. My guess is Rory and Scotty end up fairly close for me. Rory, of course, won this last year. It's not really like the best suited for him, but he's these guys can play anywhere. It's just it is just hard to. I'm gonna feel a little bit naked being so far under on Scotty. I'm not sure I'm gonna stick with it, but that's where I'm at right now. How about you, Shoots?
Yeah, I'm not interested in these guys that are starting to play now. I'm getting like 2% Fleetwood, like 2% Rory. You know, let him play a tournament or two before I'm interested. And that's going to be kind of thematic, I think, as we go through this board here. I am getting a decent amount of Scotty. I'm getting like 30% of him. I'm gonna let the Rory and Fleetwood coming off the layoff beat me. That's gonna be my idea.
Okay. Is that generally a thing that you do, Sheets? You like to wait until these guys play a tournament or two?
I mean, all else being equal, listen, for those of you that don't know me, that kind of narrative crap doesn't really fly with me. I end up just kind of running with my numbers. And so according to my numbers, that's what I'm getting anyway. And it's one of those things where I'm kind of glad I am, because instinctively I would rather wait. I would rather wait to see, because we talk about it as a baseball too. I mean, remember, most people's projections are based on either last 10 or last 20 or whatever. Quite honestly, it's been several months since these guys played. I know Scotty is playing well. You know what I mean? I know that Scotty is doing what he's doing. I would rather, all else being equal, play guys that are not coming off the layoff.
That makes sense. I mean, I totally understand the logic. I'm always trying to get a little, and I get a little too cute sometimes. I want to avoid the 35% owned at 14K guy. So, but at the same time, I can't argue with anything against Scotty. I finally thought he was going to have a normal week last week after like halfway through day Friday.
Yeah,
he was genuinely like looked like he might miss the cut, and then of course the back nine, and it was over with.
I had a little gentleman's bet with Justin Bottom in the Discord. He's in the chat right now too, that he wouldn't score over 100 fantasy points this week or last week, and lo and fucking behold, there he goes, over 100 fantasy points as always.
Crazy. It didn't hurt him, by the way, that everybody who was playing great, like all of a sudden seemed to like almost shut it down. It felt like for 2 days there was nothing. There was no movement on that leaderboard. Hardly. It was. No movement like upwards. No. I mean, what did the weekend leaders shot 2 under at best or 3 under? That's rough. It's
pretty lame. It's a pretty lame weekend.
Well, I'll tell you what happened. What happened was, I really cursed him. I was watching Hideki the whole day on Sunday, and I was like amazed that a guy could have like just no driver the whole day. I mean, literally, I was not even close. Like when I and still like probably should have won the tournament, right? So I'm sitting here, I'm saying, listen, when my driver's off, I'm like considering leaving after 9 holes and throwing my clubs in the water. Okay, he's literally, and then literally as I posted it, he finally blew up in the 18th. And fortunately, my got her up. Backdoored his way into a win for my one and dones, Bobby. So that was good news. You James are getting maybe not that much Scotty. What about the other two?
So we're not getting much of any of the 10K plus guys, which I think makes sense on a tournament like this, and especially with the way the projections have shook out. When there's one player, Scotty, that is just so far above the rest, the projections then like it almost looks like parabolic, right? Like we have kind of a linear uptrend for all the golfers, and then all of a sudden there's Scotty that like jumps way up. And so what that does is, if you take Scotty out of the equation, then what you end up with is a fairly linear set of projections that make it so that like paying up doesn't make much sense. So especially with how strong this field is, and with having so many guys that are like actually good and can win this tournament, mostly getting guys in the next range, kind of what you could call, I guess, the 8,500 to 10K range. That's where we're getting a lot more guys.
Nice. Well, let's talk about that 9K to 9,900 first. We sort of, is that cool, James? We just sort of have our normal thing going through that. Because I totally could see that argument being like to drop down to these guys. And just, I thought it was interesting that Justin was pointing out in chat that these guys, I mean, Fleetwood and Rory have both been playing a little bit on the DP World Tour. So they haven't not played at all, but it is different. Anyway, this is, this is range I think is going to be fairly popular, and I'm no one to be different. The only thing I have that's really a differentiator, or actually I have 2 things. I am way higher on Justin Rose than the field seems to be at the moment. And I'm way higher on Victor Hovland than the field seems to be at the moment. But I have I have 20% Siwoo Kim. That's probably where he ends up being owned. Oh, I have 21% Russell Henley. I've seen him as low as 10 projected. I've seen him as high as 20. I don't know where he's going to end up. But the main ones for me here that I like the best are the best versus the field are Rose and Hovland. And I would not stop playing Chris Gotterup right now. That guy is, I mean, going back to last year, it's pretty insane what he's done. If not for Scotty, we would have like an interesting conversation about Siwoo Kim and Chris Gotterup being like the best players in the world right now because they've been unbelievable. So that's sort of where I'm at for that range. What about you, Sheets? And then we'll talk to James about what he's getting.
First of all, just to kind of make an announcement here, tonight at like 11 o'clock, like PM, I'm going to be doing like a live sweat of like the NBA lobby, just like a Millie Maker tonight. So I want to go see like who's winning that and like try to analyze the lobbies a little bit. God forbid I'm live. We'll see how I'm doing there. And then what I usually do is I do like a live lineup build of my PGA. So if you guys want to really see like exactly who I'm playing, you'll join that. It'll be like on all these stream channels. It'll be on the Pater YouTube channel, it'll be on my X channel, my Twitch or whatever it is. So I mean, what I'm talking about is like who I have as of now, but I am going to be doing like a live lineup a little bit later. Now, with respect to my just analysis of the 9K guys, so it's funny. I kind of embrace this idea of like tilting these golfers like in round two. You know what I mean? To try to get them to improve. That's what people usually do online, right? They like get all mad after like 3 holes, and then they like curse the guy. I can't believe it. He's +1 after 3 holes, right? Try to get him, and it worked for me because I had a bunch of Siwoo Kim, and he was like 3 over, like T89, with like 4 holes to play, like on round 1 or something like that. And I'm like, you suck, and this, that, and the other thing. I don't think he missed a green for the rest of the weekend. Okay? Yeah, guy's totally insane, and we talked about this last week, Bobby. God forbid he could make a putt.
No, I mean, get it out of here. Yeah,
like he'd be we'd have tournaments no Siwoo Kim instead of no Scotty. So this guy's this guy is finding every freaking green, and God forbid he gets any putting variance, the guy's just going to really just start winning. So I'm getting just a bunch of him. I'm also getting, like you said, Chris Gotterup. I mean, you tell me why I shouldn't play him, and I'll be more than happy to listen. But the guy just freaking killing it. And again, like he was great after round 1. And then like it looked, and then like you didn't hear from him again, but he was just good enough to put himself in a position to get backdoored when Hideki backed into this. So I'm getting a bunch of him. The other guy I'm getting a bunch of, and this is like, listen, you're really asking for trouble, but I'm getting 23% of Xander. I mean, like he comes back off the left, misses the cut, and then did he even make the cut? Yes, I don't even know.
He made the cut. He didn't play especially great until I think he played okay on Sunday.
Barely. This is a rough click, honestly. But you know what? That's what I have. So I'm getting like a full 23% of all 3 of those guys, Siwoo, Xander, and Gotterup, and I am just woefully under on everybody else that you just said.
How about James? How about you? What is the models like?
Yeah, let's load up. I waited until we had an opportunity to talk through the portfolio manager to load it up. So I'm just going to load everything from Pater, just because it is what it is. There's no reason to go into projections management, but this is just 1,000 lineups, just straight from. And I've been reading from another one on another screen, but I figured I'd jump up here. So if we go and analyze players, we're getting a lot of Gotterup, point blank. Right, get 60% Gotterup, projected for 23% ownership. So, like, obviously, ownership edge is really big there. We get a lot of Siwoo Kim as well, projected for 21%. We get 37%. We're not getting basically any Xander because he projects terribly. It just is what it is. Until, like, in your similar logic of you don't want to play Tommy or Rory off the layup, like the models don't want to play Xander until he shows that he can actually
play golf.
Right? Like, So we get a lot of those guys. We also get a bunch of Russell Henley, which like at 9,200, I don't think I think he'll probably come in somewhere around 15, but I wouldn't be shocked to see 10 to 15 there. And then the other main guy here that we end up getting is going to be Justin Rose, and we get 13% more than the field, still relatively healthy at 25%. But Chris Gotterup, man, I mean, at 9K, that's such an easy click every week. Right now, the models love him. He's golfing great. Ownership, I even boosted his ownership a little bit. The models wanted to give me 18% at first, but I raised him up a bit. I raised Knapp up a little bit, and I raised Siwoo up a little bit while dropping Scotty down. So that's where ownership models currently are. I wouldn't be surprised to see Goddard up in the 25 to 30% range, though. And at 9K, he's just people would play him at 10K, so they're going to play him at 9K.
Mm-hmm. I agree, and I think that I also agree that they would have played him at 10K too. So it does feel like you're getting a great discount there. And look, Xander, if you want to take something, you could say, look, he's a California guy, although he just missed the cut for the first time in 15 years at his home course. So I don't know what to take from that. But yeah, he definitely looks like there's something wrong. And I kind of want to let ownership. I just don't know where to trust. Like, I'm having trouble deciding what I think Xander's actually going to be owned, because I'm not buying that he's going to be 18%. And I think it could end up just being like one of those plays that just trends totally downwards.
Yeah.
Then I would have some interest in the Xander thing.
Yeah.
Right now, it's hard for me to talk about.
For what it's worth, I track ownership projections and things like that, and I track my own also. And the guy that I was most off on, literally 2 weeks in a row, was Xander. I mean, I thought that he was going to be like 16, 18 or whatever, and nobody played him. So I'm kind of inclined to believe that everybody's going to be over on the projection as well this week. So I think you're right, Bob.
Yeah, especially with all these guys back, you know what I mean? All these names that people want to play who haven't played in a while. I mean, the last time we saw Tommy Fleetwood, he was the best golfer in the world for a little while for the last month of the season. Anyway, all right, we can jump down into the 8K range. James, you want to start us off with whatever what the system's like in over there?
Sure. Yeah. Let's take a look at things from a projection standpoint first. So highest projection in this range is Robert McIntyre, sitting at 74. His ownership is, nominal. A lot of these guys are going to have some ownership, but not like a lot. This is probably going to be a pretty spread out week. No-cut events are like that for the most part. And, this field is strong enough that people are just going to play guys. The worst projection here is Aberg, who just looks like fucking trash. Similar to like the Xander situation, Aberg is better than how he has been playing, but until he shows it, the models are going to hate him. He gets 1 or 2 good weeks under his skis, then he can probably start jumping back up there. But for now, he's going to look really, really bad. The guy who I think looks like they're getting the most here, what is it, Gerard and Day? Gerard in this range? No, it's just Day in this range. We end up getting 28% Day. We end up getting 30% Robert McIntyre. So those are kind of the two main guys in this range. I wouldn't be surprised again to see like Jason Day get a little bit more ownership here. Justin Bottom said that when we get into this range, he's probably going to do the max 40% exposure on Ben Griffin. He looks fine, 8,400. I think he's probably appropriately priced, and he is going to have ownership. Right, he's projected for about 18% ownership. So, what are you thinking about this range?
Yeah, I'll go, and then we'll leave it to Sheets to go after the. So there's a couple of things. One, I am okay, like because I think you can find things. It just seems to happen. I'm not a golfer. I don't play golf myself, but you see guys struggle for a year, but then it can snap out of it in no time.
Yeah.
I mean, Oberg, if we want to take something from it, he finished second. I know it was only a 3-day event when he played here his first time, which was, in 24. And he missed the cut last year. He's been all over the map. I actually think it's if everyone gets off of it, I'm considering going more that direction. I'm not getting much of it now, but that is where I'm considering going. If this ownership, if I really believe it's going to drop down to like 5%, I think I'd like to at least have 10. I'd rather be over the field. Guys, I like it. The obvious ones. I like Ben Griffin. I like what I've seen from Fitzpatrick. I really like Thor Bjornsson, and I've been on this guy since last year. I'm not going to stop now. And then the one that I'm sort of like I hate this guy as a human being. He's like one of the few golfers I just don't think is a good person. But I'm going to use him for DFS, and he almost got me there this weekend. But is Daniel Berger. Down at 8K flat. So those are sort of my main ones. But like you said, it's pretty spread out for me. I'm sort of getting I'm getting like double digits ownership of almost everybody in this range.
Yeah.
Listen, I've been doing business, so to speak, with Bobby for like a long time now. So I know exactly what he's going to say, because I'm about to say, boy, I'm surprised that you didn't come up, you have more of this guy, because you always do. And then I'm going to mention him. He said, oh yeah, I forgot. I totally forgot to mention I have like 74% of him. Right. So I'm going to go right back to Maverick McNeely. All the guy does is freaking play good golf right now, and I'm going to be getting quite a bit of that. Griffin, I like. He's going to be owned. Cam Young, I like a lot. I think he's going to be owned. He's just too cheap at 8,100. And I do like Fitzpatrick. I mean, again, these guys have been playing well. So I like Fitzpatrick, McNeely. Those are my top two. But I will say that I'm not getting 35% of anybody. Like they're all kind of market weight, like 18%, 17%, something like that. I'm getting like an overwhelmingly big amount of Griffin and Young. But we'll see where I actually end up.
By the way, I do have 20% of McNeely. I just didn't mention him because everybody's basically like that for me in this range,
Right. Yep.
And he was one of the more popular ones who was there. But I hear you. So I'm on the McNeely train as well.
Models are a bit lower on McNeely than you guys. Probably coming in somewhere around where he'll be owned, that 10 to 15%, and higher on Fitzpatrick and McIntyre and Jason Day. But you guys both said it. Like all of these guys are viable. You can play like basically anyone in the $8,000 to $8,900 range this week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that I think that range is definitely I mean, obviously the other guys up top are high or owned, but like literally everybody in that range could end up at double-digit owned, and it wouldn't be at all surprising.
Yeah.
All right, down. So we like to do 75 to 7,900 because there gets to be too many names if you go through, at least for me, and I like to keep it on one screen if possible. I guess I'll start really quickly on this range. I don't think I'm going to do this. In my builds, I didn't put any number for this, and I do like Jake Knapp, but I'm afraid this Jake Knapp becomes like the highest owned player on the slate. I really think that's like right behind Scotty or right with Scotty. I think that's like a natural, like if you're playing a cash game, people are going to do that, which is weird because Jake Knapp is like a range of outcomes guy, but at the same time, there's no cut. So, and I'm huge on Knapp for the year. He's way too cheap at 7,900. What I would suggest as a pivot is Shane Lowry, who finished second in this event last year. His game suits this course. He knows it well. I think Shane Lowry is a terrific play to get off of the Jake Knapp. So that's I guess my strongest take in the 7,500 to 7,900 range. I also think like are people gonna forget to play Ryan Gerard just because he didn't play 1 week? Because he's been right there, like right behind the Siwoo and the and who was the other name we mentioned earlier? The Siwoo and the Gotterup. I think he's a really good play. So he and Gerard are like my get different. This Morikawa, man, I played him last week.
I know.
It's the hardest thing to watch, like to root for.
I can't believe he actually made the cut for you. I thought you were. I thought he was going to miss the cut.
He ends up like four putting when he's got like a 15-footer for eagle. He ends up four putting and making a bogey. Like it's just or making a double. Like it's bizarre. I don't even know what the hell's going on with him. Anyway, all this to say, Lowry as a differentiator. I'm still not sure what I'm going to do with Knapp, but I'm probably going to end up with 20% or so. And then I also I do like the I like Harry Hall as well. That's the other one that.
Well, once again, Bobby forgot to mention his favorite one. So I'll talk about that in terms of this. So one of the things that I think maybe you could comment on this a little bit, James, because you do projections and miles and things like that. When it comes to even baseball and maybe sometimes pitchers and also golfers and whatever, again, all people can kind of go on is past performance. Right? That's all they really have, right? And the question is, how much past performance do you allow? Like how many rounds do you track? And I think that pretty much all projection models like understate like good young people. Okay, they don't really factor in like room for improvement and upside and things like that. And like again, all else being equal, if you have two guys that are projecting based on past performance like 80, and one of them is a 28-year-old kid, going forward, the other one is somebody else. I'll go with a 28-year-old kid. I know they have a little more volatility, whatever it is. So with that said, we're just going to keep playing Pearson Coody.
Yeah, that's fair.
We're just going to keep playing him, and we're going to keep playing him until he's either 9K or 40% owned. Okay, and right now he's neither. So we're going to keep playing him. And I'll give you an example. So he's 7,600, and let's look at I don't know, like Ricky Fowler. Okay, fair enough, right? Ricky Fowler, I have him projected pretty much the same as far as their projection goes, but I'll take freaking Pearson Coody. You know what I mean? Like I'd rather his upside than the consistency and long time history of Ricky Fowler when I'm trying to win a GPP. Okay, so I like Pearson Coody quite a bit. As opposed to, like I said, like Harris English, I could do without guys like that. If you want to know the truth. I could do without guys like Colin Morikawa. The Ryan Gerard I'm down with. Pearson Coody I'm down with. These are the guys I want to play.
Yeah.
I like that idea. And by the way, I do have some Coody. I do have I have 15%. So I'm with you. Oh no, 16%. I'm with you. How about you, James? What are you getting here?
So first off, fun fact with Pearson Coody, last year when he first got like the ability to start playing on the major tour on the PGA tour, models just fucking love the guy. Right. And I just kept taking flack, and it was like, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like his historical baselines are terrific, and like the model, and he's like free. I don't know what to tell you. And he just like crushed it like 3 weeks in a row. And then all of a sudden he became the mascot for Pay Dirt for PGA. Because he's good, dude. Like he's really good. So 7,600 projects for 60. Like that's respectable for this one. Ownership 15%. When we look over in the portfolio manager, getting around 30% of him. Happy about that. Gerard, that's the best play on the slate. Like if Gerard is going to be 10% owned, he's by far just like the best play on the slate. You could say things like Goddard up and Knapp and stuff. I do tend to agree that Knapp is probably going to be somewhere around 25 to 30% owned. So one of the things that I'm doing while I'm listening to you guys talk about this stuff, when we're done with this stream, I'm going to go in, I'm going to bump up Jake Knapp's ownership because I agree with you. That's going to be higher. I'm going to drop down Xander's ownership, right? Like people aren't going to play Xander this week. I think I'm going to bump up Goddard up a little bit, right? Like all the models love him and people keep talking about like he's going to get more ownership, right? But like Gerard, I don't think people are going to push up Gerard. I think he's going to be like 10% owned. Pearson Coody, I don't think people are going to be pushing up Pearson Coody. Like 15% probably sounds about fine. So I think that both of those guys look like just really, really good plays, especially Ryan Gerard. If he's at 10% owned, that is just terrific. So I'm really happy about those ownerships.
Love that. I like the conviction. So that's great to hear. All right. 7K to 7,400.
I'll start with the 7K to 7,400s. Now, again, it's going to be another speech that Bobby and I've given every single week. But first of all, it is kind of weird to see guys like Corey Connors at 7K flat, and what's his name? Jordan Spieth at 7,400, and all these guys that are really, really, good golfers, like Keith Mitchell even at 7,200, Corey Connors at 7K, it's actually pretty troubling to see that price. But I'm going to double down on the same thing I was just mentioning with the young guys that they're misprojected. The other guys, and this is again 4 weeks in a row we talked about this, Bobby. The other guys that are misprojected are people that were hurt last year, and all of their results from last year are just tainted. And until they get made up for in the projection models, these guys are just going to be underprojected. And we are going to right back and play Sahith every single week until again he's either 8,500 or 40% owned, and neither of those is the case. So he's been playing well every single week since we talked about this, and we're going to go right back to it. Now again, because I met all the guys that I mentioned, I mean, I think they all sound really good, like Boccia and even Nick Taylor. Like all these guys are really good. So how can Sahith be more than 4% owned? Do you know what I mean? Like I don't know. So I'm gonna keep trying that one.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. The one thing about this part of the range, this is going to be the lowest owned rate. Like I'm counting under 7K all as one range.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
This is going to be the lowest owned range because people will you can get your one or whatever mid-tier guy with Scotty, or two mid-tier guys actually with Scotty, and people are going to play that 8K range when they play their balance builds. This is going to be the forgotten range. In fact, nobody projected except for Minwoo over 10% owned, which by the way I'm fine with. There's a few guys I like. I'm with you on the Sahith thing. I also want to point out that Bhatia looked great last week, and I don't know why we wouldn't go back to him at a place that he actually should be good. The other two are former winners. We have 2 year ago winner Wyndham Clark, and it's mostly because he's going to be unowned that I'm interested, but I am interested. And the other one for me is going to be Nick Taylor. Those are the ones who I'm the most heavyweight on at the moment. versus the field. I do have 10% Minwoo, but the field should probably be a little higher than that. So not even really making a case there. But you're right. It is a little weird to see Corey Connors, who basically finishes top 20 in almost everything, at what, 5% owned or 7K, excuse me. He'll get some ownership, but I don't think it's going to be that high.
What do you think, James?
You can play anyone that you want in this range.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this range, the 7K to 8K range, just at large, even like the 7,500 to 8K range, you can just basically play anybody that you want here. Sahith is great, Bhatia is great, Nick Taylor, Jordan Spieth, Min Woo, Kurt Kitayama, Wyndham Clark, Corey Connors, like hell, even Alex Noren, who projects badly, like he's somebody who has found success before, and at 7,100, like that's probably a fair play. You can play fucking anyone in this range. So this is kind of, and I agree with you, Bobby, this is going to be the lowest owned by far, because people they're going to look in this range and they're going to say, oh, well, you know, I have Scotty and then I have a 6K golfer, right? Like they're not going to go up to this range. They're going to go down in the 6K golfers if they have Scotty. And if they don't have Scotty, they don't need this range, right? Like you can just go with 3 9K guys, one $7,500 guy, and another $7,500 guy, right? Like, and then, you know, you fucking slot in whatever. So people are not going to own this range, which is kind of crazy because there's so many good golfers in this range. Mm-hmm. So I think that this probably is just another reason why it's probably not necessary to play Scotty this week. Or if you want to make the argument that you can just play 3 of these guys, Scotty, and then 2 of the $7,500 guys, I'd even buy that one, right? Like you don't need to go into the 9K range. There's so many guys in this range that could win. So I think that this range makes or breaks tournaments this week. One guy from this range is going to be in winning lineups, if not multiple. And getting the right 5% owned dude in this range is just going to be how you win. So I think this is your round robin range. This is where you just kind of, you know, you figure it out.
Absolutely. And one thing I look, I'm not saying this is the right way to do things, but I do this sometimes when I'm min-maxing, like when I've been, you know, using SaberSim, obviously, and that is for the last years because we've been partnered with them before. But when I feel like I don't have a great feel for a slate like for golf, and I don't feel like I have a great feel for this one, but I feel like I have an okay feel for this one. If I felt like I really had no feel, I might just like make sure I was overweight everybody in that range and then sort of let it see what it does. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because I think I agree with what you said, that I think somebody from that range is so likely on the winning lineup, and you're getting different with basically everybody in the range. Mm-hmm. All right, under 7K. Sheets, why don't you start us off? Because you don't usually have very many of these guys, and I'm curious how many you have right this week.
Yeah, but you kind of have to this week. One thing I don't want is what I'm getting right now, and this is one of the reasons why I don't like to look at who I get. I'm getting like 14% of a guy that's under 7K, and I just don't want it. So the guy I happen to be getting right now 14% of is Matthew McCarty. But I just don't think that's responsible. I think you have to like you guys were saying, kind of round robin and shuffle these guys around a little bit. The guy that, again, okay, so here's a guy who's still in jail for me. Like Rico Hoey is still dead to me. I said I can't play him for a month after what he did to me a couple of weeks ago. After he dropped out when I just needed him to finish his freaking rounds. So I can't play him yet. There's plenty of other guys to play. But again, now this is like eye test stuff, and it's also like I won't say recency bias, but I actually believe in recent performance over back performance, honestly. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you who plays like he doesn't give an F, and all I see is him in freaking contention is this Ryo Hitsusuni guy, okay? Yeah. Guys is freaking killing it, so why not? so 6,800, I like him. McCarty, I have to respect. I'm getting a lot of them that I have to respect my numbers here. And the other top guy I have is Jacob Bridgman. So those are my 3.
Yeah, I totally I'm shocked at this projected ownership on Hisatsune. How many times does it have to happen before we learn? Like, I don't know. I'm with you on the Hisatsune. He's probably going to be one of my higher owned guys in this under 7K range, and then we'll go to James about the other guys. I'm going to force in Marco Penge. I hear it differently all the time. I think it's worth noting that Steven Yeager sort of looks like Steven Yeager from 2 years ago, not from last year. He's been really good. And this might be like the steal of forever to get him at 6,700 at no ownership. It's tempting with the Finau thing, but I'm not probably going to end up pulling the trigger to put too much on that. Other guys, I'm getting a little bit of the bottom of this range pot getter. That doesn't feel great. I'm sort of spread out in this lower range, but I don't really feel great about a lot of it. Maybe it's because I'm a little more committed to that 7K to 7,400 range. But I'm sort of like spread out. There's nobody I'm making like a huge stand on. If I had to, I think it'd be Hisatsune. And Jaeger. I think those would be my two guys. What about you, James? What is anything that they're showing, the projections are showing for under the 7K guys that you should be getting?
Well, so I think I think that there's maybe less about this range that I think is interesting outside of the combinations that you'll likely see with Scotty. Because you'll need people in this range to get Scotty if you want to have like lineups that you quote unquote feel good about, right?
Yeah.
So I think that what you'll end up seeing is you'll see Scotty and Rogers, like that'll be one of the higher owned combos, and you'll see Scotty and McCarty. Those are kind of like the two guys that I think are likely gonna get their chance to shine with Scotty. Outside of that, this range actually doesn't feel that good, right? I mean, you have a whole bunch of guys who can do things, but are probably priced appropriately. I'm not I know ball guy, so I don't know about Hisatsune. If that's how you pronounce his name, whatever. Yeah, that guy. Like, if you guys like him, then great. But I think that if you guys like him, then his ownership's probably going to be a little bit higher too, right? So I'll probably have to go in and pump him up a little bit. Models agree with the take on Bridgman. They have him projected best in this range, projected for 60. Ownership is in the 5% range. When I look at this list, I think that it's more about trying to look at, okay, well, who is going to be paired with Scotty, and do you feel comfortable with that? Like, if you're going to play Scotty, do you want to put in a rule that says don't pair Scotty with Rogers? Like, if you think Rogers is a good play, but conceptually, right? Like, conceptually, you would think about that from a who's going to be paired with Scotty. Am I comfortable with that pairing? Like, if Rogers is only going to be 10% owned, whatever, that's fine. Yeah, if he's going to be like 15% owned, like maybe you think about it a little bit more. Mm-hmm. But that's more what this range is for me. It's more thinking about the combos with Scotty and less about these plays like as just plays by themselves. Plays by themselves, Bridgman looks the best. I still don't even get all that much of him. End up getting 3%, which is in line with the field. So McCarty get 3%. Like, I'm just not getting a lot of these guys in this really low range, mostly because I'm getting so much of the guys in the 7 and 8K range, right? So kind of goes along with what we've talked about through this whole show.
Yeah, absolutely. And one other thing I should have added is partially why I like some of the guys I mentioned earlier this week. This is the first 2 days should be clear, but there should be some weather over the weekend and some wind. So I did do some personal research on just the guys who I don't need to do it very long, because you all you have to do is look at where someone's from. Shane Lowry plays in the rain and the wind. I swear the guy plays better than he does on a clear day. So that's another reason I like Shane Lowry. Tommy Fleetwood is awesome in weather. Like, the more difficult it gets, the better he gets. So that's something just to consider going into the weekend. It should be clear the first couple days, but the weekend I think you're going to see a little bit of variance, and it tends to affect this course a little bit more than maybe it's projected for each year. I just want to throw that out there.
Sure.
All right. Well, this was great. Now we got to do our game real quick before we get out of here. So
first question we have to ask is, who is going to win the tournament? So we're going to go snake draft here. So you can go. You want me to go first this time?
You're going to go first because we know you're going to take.
Yeah. So I'm going to go off the board here. I'm going to say Scotty Scheffler.
Okay. Well, if this is just raw, you can even use the same guys if you want to. It's just who you're taking to win the tournaments or to do whatever. So who you got, James?
Yeah, my choice is Siwoo. Look, I'm a big regression guy. One of the only things that I have found that actually does regress in PGA is putting rates. It does not regress towards a league level, but it regresses towards a personal career level. So Siwoo is going to have some good variance on putting at some point, and with how well he's been golfing, I think he wins tournament. So I'm picking Siwoo on this one.
All right, mine is a terrible take, and it is just to stay on brand because it's the first tournament he's playing this year. As anybody knows who's followed me for a long time, I have one golfer who I like so much better than everybody else, and we were playing him back when he was 6,800, who has shot his way up to being what I believe is the actual second best player in the world, and I'm going to take Tommy Fleetwood. I'm not saying everybody should do this. I'm just saying I'm not going to play him I'm not going to load him in every single lineup, but he will be in probably 20 to 25% of my lineups this week. And even though he hasn't played much and didn't even look great on the DP World Tour, I just think in these events with the best players, his last 3 times that we had these no-cut events, he's finished first, third, and fourth, and also plays well in the weather. So I'm taking Fleetwood, even though I feel a little funky about it. All right, Sheets, who you got to come in the top 5 under 10K?
Top 5 to come in the top. I am going to go with. I'm going to go with top 5. He can't win, but it's the one tournament this guy's got a shot in. I'm going to go with Russell Henley, actually.
I like that so much, and I actually am going to play him in one and done this week. So I'm happy to hear you say that. All right, James, how about you? Under 10K to top 5.
Yeah, I mean, based on the models, the 3 guys who have the best shot are going to be Justin Rose, Chris Gotterup, or Russell Henley. I think we can all agree on Henley is a good play, but I'll go with Justin Rose just to be a little bit different. He has the second best odds. That's
actually who I was thinking of too. I am going to go a little bit off the board because I'd like to get somebody a little bit lower owned. And I know the way you're supposed to do this is what you really think, but I like this guy, and I thought had his first good ever waste management last week. Actually has a skill set that maybe we see the breakout year from Victor Hovland where he's contending with Scotty. So I'm going with Hovland as the top 5.
So Bobby, stick with you. Who's under 9K to go top 10?
Under 9K to go top 10. I have got. I'm going to go a little bit of chalk now because I had all my other guys. I am actually going to say Jake Knapp. That's where I'm at. You know what? Take it back. I'm going with Thorbjornsen. Let's go with Thorbjornsen instead. Thorbjornsen is my guy.
Go F yourself then, because that's what I was thinking.
Oh,
so
take Knapp.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I'm going to go with Maverick McNeely then.
I will go with Ryan Gerard because the models love him more than most things. So I'll go with Ryan Gerard on this one.
Okay, under 8K to make top 20. James, you go first.
Well, can I say Jake Knapp?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say this time. But yeah,
I mean that seems easy. I'm going to go Jake Knapp.
Okay, Jake Knapp it is for.
So I'll be in the middle again. So I will go with Pearson Coody.
We're going to go Coody. I'm going to be really lame after trying to go a little bit off the board earlier, and I am also going to say Jake Knapp.
We can give a special honor to Sahith. How about that?
Yep.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, and then if there was one, I mean, it was good. But for me, it was between Jake Knapp and Bhatia.
Sure.
Bhatia.
So Bobby, under 7K just to make the cut.
Everyone.
Under 7K to make the.
I'm just kidding.
Well, everyone's going to make the cut. Under 7K, best finish under 7K is what we do when we don't have the cuts. I think I am going to probably. That's a tough one for me. Tougher than I thought it was going to be. Actually, I don't know. I thought I'd like more down here better than I do. All right, I'm going to go a little bit funky, and I'm going to say Sammy Valimaki, a guy we didn't talk about.
All right, then I'm going to go with a guy we didn't talk about. Also, I'll go for my son. I'll go my UVA. I'll go Danny McCarthy from University of Virginia.
Oh my God, I didn't even know he was in this tournament.
I will go with what the model's like, and that is Bridgman.
How about you?
Bridgman.
And you got Bridgman, right?
Yep. Now here's what we like to do. Here's what we like to do. We like to pick top guy over 9K to miss the cut. So who's going to be the worst performing 9K and up guy, James?
Okay, let's load these things up here. Worst performing 9K and up guy, Xander. Prove it. Prove that nothing's wrong, and it'll be fine. But for now, Xander.
I will go with Hideki.
I know he takes the same guy every time. I'm going to write it down who it is right now. Did you say it?
I had Hideki.
Oh, you did. Of course, I didn't even hear you say it. I just knew it was coming.
Of course.
Oh my God, I think you even picked him last week too. No, maybe not last week. All right. So for me, the worst. Obviously, I like all these guys. I guess I'm going to say Rory. and get a little bit funky with it. I doesn't mean I'm not going to play him at all in DFS, but
so I gave out Chris Goddard for one and done last week, by the way. So everybody, we could pick one favorite one and done guy for this week. Who's it going to be, Bobby?
Henley.
And again, what you're looking for this week is actually a pretty big tournament, so you're allowed to pick like a top guy this week. It's not like you have to save anything, but I actually like. I think McNeely is not bad here. I mean, he's 30-1, which is a little bit saucy, but I have. I'll give you two because I would go back to Goddard again if you didn't use him, and I will say Goddard or McNeely. Do you play any? You know anything about this, James?
I don't, but I'll give two golfers that I think are worth using. Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, I think Siwoo is probably like the guy who is the best shot here. And if you're not going to use him, I think you'd probably end up, let's see. I mean, Jake Knapp just looks really, really good. And I think one of the things about like DFS and betting, while they're not completely correlated, I do think that it's worth saying that if somebody's going to have like high ownership in DFS, it's worth considering their real life outcomes as well. Yeah. Not only from like a betting them to do well perspective, but something that we've talked about in the past is hedging your DFS stuff with betting action, right? So Jake Knapp, we think he's probably going to be, 20-25% owned.
Bet him to win.
Like if you're going to be under on that, you might as well go take him to win.
Right.
And give yourself a little bit of a hedge. So I think Siwoo and Jake Knapp are guys that I like just holistically in the betting markets this week.
That makes a lot of sense. Jeez, who did you pick?
I left Goddard again and McNeely.
Goddard. Oh, yeah, that's right, McNeely. All right, I'll make a note of that one.
So just so you guys know, for one and done, the reason why I wouldn't play Xander this week. He does have good win odds or whatever, but again, he's sort of on the way back, and it's one of those things where if he's on the way back enough where he can win now, then he's probably going to be even better in like later in the season. You know what I mean? Like I would not waste Xander now. He's either like no good, right, which unlikely, but it's possible. He's just no good right now, or he's good enough that he's going to keep improving. So I would not play Xander in one and done this week.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I definitely wouldn't play Xander in one and done until I see a little more, especially because by the end of the year, he very well might be, second, third, fourth best golfer in the world. Yep. All right, guys, this was a blast. Any final thoughts for either of you guys before we get out of here?
No, I got to get my soccer lineups in.
All right, good luck to everybody. Look forward to a fun weekend, and we'll be live later if you're watching this on Wednesday with some basketball. So we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
All right, good luck, everybody.